Good evening, good day. Welcome to another edition of Pinup Party. I'm Skipjack. Want to go over some of the changes to the terms of service for YouTube. Even though the date says December the 10th, they have made some changes to both comply with cookie policies, just like Google has with their latest Google update, and there will be another one this month. But they're also making changes for tracking and what you can and cannot do using their service, and also what they can and won't do any longer while you are uploading content or collecting information from the people who are watching your shows. So, excuse me, the terms of service have been updated, even though it says the date of December the 10th. I have gone through here and it is a little bit different. So I suggest, I'm not going to read everything on here, my goodness, that would take forever, but I do suggest that any of you who are running channels, that you go and you check this out, whatever shows you're doing, reread it. It looks a lot like the former terms of service, but there are several changes in here. Definitely make sure that when you're making your videos, or if you have not made videos in a while, that you're checking the age requirements, the parental permissions. I have seen and heard of players getting their shows pulled down because they forgot to click that content. So you want to make sure that you're double checking that. As far as age requirements is 13 for people to actually make videos, but it also is for some of the watching of videos. They do have a YouTube's kids. So make sure also, if you guys are parents of kids who play games, any kind of game, make sure that they're watching safely and properly, and they're not watching adult versions if they're under the age of 13. Make sure they're using the YouTube Kid channel so that they're not on the more adult channels if you can. It does talk about their analyzing content, so they do automatically analyze your content to help detect abuse and keep the platform safe. I have seen shows shut down in the middle of a show when there have been any kinds of threats of life or harassment or terrorism, so just want to let you know, just keep that in mind. Keep an eye on your side chats. Make sure that you have somebody on the YouTube side chat that has a wrench, is watching for you, so that people don't cross the line, because they're watching both, not just your content and the live information that you're providing, but also the comments that are being made on the side chat. I have seen them pull a show because of side chat, and then once you turn the commenting off and remove the comments and just let your show run, they allow you to put your show back up. So it talks about some other things as well, but this is the welcome to YouTube. If you have not read it yet, if you're thinking about running shows, make sure you don't just scroll through this and check yes, I agree, because you really want to check it, because if anything does happen, you are responsible for your channel. So, and I'm going to show you the policies here, the community policies. So if someone were to have an issue with your show, or someone on your show, or someone on the side chat, when they report to YouTube, that's just the first step, but then they can go farther, and you are responsible for the content that is provided on your show. So it talks about your service provider, the different terms. Again, I'm not going to read all that. This one specifically, you must be at least 13 years old to use the service. Children of all ages can use YouTube Kids where available, if enabled by a parent or legal guardian. If you're under the age of 18, you represent that you have your parent or guardian's permission to use the service. Please have them read the agreement with you. So again, this is something to remember, because if you're a War Commander, this is any game, but if you're a War Commander player, the game is PG-13. All of Kickside games are PG-13. They used to be, I think, N-17, and now they're PG-13. But you really want to make sure that you're watching that kind of content, and occasionally you will have a parent that will say, hey, think about adding a disclaimer to your YouTube channel that says that it's intended for entertainment purposes only and for mature audiences. You're already checking that it's not for kids, but having a disclaimer there is just that extra coverage to let people know that, hey, I put it out there, it says right here. And basically your disclaimer should run, just at the bottom of whatever the description that your show is. So most of the people that I know that do regularly scheduled shows put in their title of their show, they put in like a paragraph or so what the show's about, and then they have their disclaimer that follows underneath. So think about doing that you have a disclaimer that says it's for mature audiences only if the conversation that you know that you're going to have is open and may include things that would not be suitable for children. So there's information about the content of services, your Google accounts and your YouTube channels. It talks about a privacy policy. You can click on that if you want to go through that. I've gone through mine to make sure. They talk about your YouTube data and how they share it. The permissions and restrictions, what you can and you cannot, and this of course is specifically the things that you're not allowed to do. And I want to specifically put this one out there for those of you who do have channels. This goes both ways. This also goes for the people who are watching your shows. Number 7 says misuse any reporting, flagging, complaint, dispute, or appeals process, including making groundless, vexatious, or frivolous submissions. Now what that means is, that also means for you as a YouTuber and a show person, let's just say somebody has a, I don't know, like a rival show or something, or someone comes after you like in your side chat or something, and then you go troll their page or you go reporting their page. You want to be, be careful of that, because, that reflects negatively on your channel as well. So, but also for those of you who are watching right now, if you're watching someone's show and you don't agree with it or you don't like it, I mean, feel free to make a comment. I'm sure all the YouTubers out there appreciate pros and cons as far as the comments go, but don't flag somebody or complain on something if it's based on a fib, or just out and out lie. If you don't like something that was said on a panel, feel free to, send a PM or a DM or post on the channel, hey, what so-and-so said on the panel offended me. If you're on the side chat, feel free to speak your mind, but keep it respectful, because whoever's running that show has to agree to all of this. We all have to agree to all of this. And I mean, we don't just check the box and move on. We all agree to all of that. So just make sure that you keep that in mind, that you're not sending off false reports on the pages. You can hit a thumbs down if you don't like it, but I would suggest that you just reach out to the person who's running the show and say, hey, this upset me, and I just want to let you know. Instead of going to YouTube and, flagging a show just because you didn't agree with what was said. If they do something that's naughty or nasty, or someone makes some kind of a threat or something like that, yeah, sure, of course. If it violates the community standards, absolutely, report it. But if it's just because you don't agree with what they said, or who that person is, or you don't like their personality, that's not a reason to go, trolling somebody. And basically, I mean, there's enough hate in the world. There's no reason to spread that kind of stuff. So it talks about the agreement. Again, this is more, towards the actual YouTuber who's putting videos out, but a lot of the stuff that's in here actually applies to people who watch videos as well. So I know I scrolled really fast through that, but hopefully I scrolled enough that if you see something that you are interested in, if you want to know what other YouTubers have to deal with every time they make shows, and putting on event shows and weekly shows and release note shows, and hey, let me show you this kind of show, or maybe they just have a rant and rave show. All of these things, as YouTubers, we have to agree to. So if a YouTube channel person comes back to you and says, well, it's a lot of work to put on these shows, each one of these in itself has another long list like this that goes with it, that goes into more detail. So we all have to adhere to this, and everybody who's out there in the community is out hopefully to help everyone else in the community. And the other thing I want to cover just real quick, I'm not going to read through all these, but I would encourage you to check out the YouTube community standards, and it talks about inappropriate content and the flagging feature. And the reason why I'm following that up with that, and there's a video here, I'm not going to play it, is that if you do see something that you feel is inappropriate, and you do see something that's being said, if somebody calls you a name or something, or says I'm going to come smash you, or wait till I get to, your alliance is going to be dead, or your sector is going to be flat, that's not the same thing. If it's game related, you know, get over it, Snowflake. It's a battle game, okay? That's all I gotta say about that. If you don't like what they said and it's game related, piss off. You know what I mean? Just shake it off. Don't watch the show. Or don't engage with that person. Or, just don't take the bait. But if somebody threats you in real life, or you feel like it's just like over the top, or you hear somebody threaten somebody else in real life, definitely, absolutely, positively. And if it's any kind of show, the host may not, it may happen so fast that the host may not even have a chance to do anything about it. It used to be you could just boot somebody from the show, boom, like that, they're gone. It doesn't work that way anymore. I wish it did, but it doesn't work that way anymore. So it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So if you hear something that you don't like, or someone makes an obscene remark, or there's any kind of hate speech, feel free to use the flagging feature. So again, just Google YouTube community standards and you'll get the policies and safety. And of course it tells you about how long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's the community guidelines, here's the safety tools and resources, not going to go through all those, and reporting and enforcement. That actually explains how to do it. So if you ever have to do one, this is really very, very effective, and it's really simple to walk through the steps in order to report something. So it talks about, these are the common sense rules: nudity and sexual content. I have a lot of room to talk on that one, right? Harmful or dangerous content, hateful content, violent or graphic content. Of course, we are playing War Commander. I mean, did you see some of the things that... I mean, Skipjack got stabbed this event. Anyway, harassment, cyberbullying. I'm not making light of violent graphic content. I'm just saying in general. Harassment, cyberbullying, spam, misleading meta data, and scams. Definitely on this one. Please pay attention to that if you ever see it. If you see somebody posting that kind of stuff in side chat. Threats to anyone, and it just tells you predatory behavior, stalking, threats, harassment, intimidation, invading their privacy. Using someone's first name is not invading their privacy, and you're not violating any rules. Using their first and their last name, or some people call that the surname, that is, especially regardless of whether or not you know that person personally or not, you really shouldn't be sharing personal information like that. Revealing their personal information, inciting others to commit violent acts or violate the terms of use, all those kinds of things. Again, if y'all decide to go and smash somebody on the base, in a base or in a map or whatever, it's just pixels. Respecting the copyright, again, when it comes to music, you've heard me joke about it. I was making a video actually to send to Kixeye, and I had my stereo in the background. It really wasn't even on that loud, and it picked it up and flagged it almost immediately because I guess the music was just loud enough that it picked up on my video. I'm sure it was a bot that grabbed it, but it was really frustrating because I had to do the video again. Privacy, if someone's posted your personal information or uploaded a video about you without your consent, you can request that it's removed. Child safety, I'm not going to click on that, but again, as a good YouTuber, you all should know about this already. There's some other policies, and impersonation, people who try to be somebody that they're not. So again, it's really simple. I would really recommend anybody who watches videos on a regular basis, especially the live streams or the ones with panels, go to the community guidelines, read the and you can do earn more. Read this information. Go to the safety and tools section about the things that you can hook up or the things that you can see. Go to the reporting and enforcement. Just click through it yourself. How to report a video, how to report an abusive user, legal complaints, privacy violations. It's really, really simple, and YouTube does make it very simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of information. I know it's kind of techy, but not really interesting. It's kind of boring. But it really is important that we all remember these standards so that the information that's sent out to the public and the community for any game is good information. Even if it's frustratingly, constructively ticked off, it's still good information, and nobody's going after anybody, in real life, or posting real information about anyone. So please remember that. Keep that in mind when you're watching. Keep that in mind when you're in the side chats. And those of you who are starting up new channels, kudos to you. I say fist bump. For those of you who are starting new channels, Twitch has a similar community policy. I love it. So make sure you have somebody that has a wrench or has some kind of moderation on your channel, so that while you're in the middle of streaming your videos, that you have somebody who's actively in the side chat, because whatever goes on in the side chat, unlike previous years, whatever goes on in the side chat is also a reflection of your video, and your video can be pulled for content in the side chat. So that's about all I have to say. This is Skipjack, and this is another edition of Pinup Party. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.